If you're even remotely interested in horror movies, go watch Evil Dead Burn in theaters. Seriously, this is one of the best theatrical experiences I've had in years. It isn't perfect, but when it comes to tension, gore, cinematography, and pure adrenaline, this movie absolutely delivers. Before we get into the review, let me quickly clear up one thing for people who are new to the Evil Dead franchise. A lot of people walk into these movies expecting some deep, complex horror story. That's never been what Evil Dead is about. Every Evil Dead movie follows a very similar setup. Someone messes up with the Book of the Dead, ancient evil gets unleashed, people get possessed, chaos follows. The plot has always been simple. The real appeal, however, is how everything unfolds: the characters, the insane practical gore, the creative kills, and the relentless tension. That's what this franchise has always been about. And Evil Dead Burn absolutely nails that. From the opening scene, this movie barely slows down. Once it gets going, it refuses to let you breathe. Whenever the pacing does slow for a moment, it's only to build the characters before throwing them back straight to hell. It never feels like a filler. Every quiet moment earns the next big scare. It keeps escalating, every sequence somehow manages to top the one before it, which is honestly impressive considering how insane some of the early scenes already are. One thing that really surprised me was the atmosphere. This movie feels incredibly oppressive, from the lighting to the production design to the sound. Everything constantly reminds you that something horrible is about to happen. Even during quieter scenes, there's this feeling that you're never safe, and I absolutely loved that. It's not relying on cheap jump scares every 5 minutes. Instead, it builds tension naturally. So when something finally happens, it lands much harder. I also have to give a huge shout out to the cinematography. The cinematography here is fantastic. There are some incredibly creative camera movements throughout the film. Without spoiling anything, there are several long takes that genuinely impressed me. Normally, a one shot sequence doesn't excite me anymore because almost every filmmaker tries to include one nowadays. But here, they are actually used to increase tension instead of just showing off. The framing, the lighting, the transition, everything serves the story, nothing feels unnecessary. Now, let's talk about what everyone is actually here for: the gore. Because this is Evil Dead. If you have seen the previous movies, you already know what to expect. If you haven't, prepare yourself. This movie is absolutely brutal. The practical effects are incredible, the makeup is phenomenal. Some of the kills genuinely made the entire theater react. People were screaming, covering their eyes, all at the same time. And that's exactly what Evil Dead should be. It's disgusting, creative, and somehow still incredibly fun. Something I wasn't expecting was how much I actually cared about the characters. The movie spends just enough time establishing everyone's relationships before everything falls apart. That emotional investment makes it work so much better here. Because you're not just watching random 2D characters getting attacked, you're watching people desperately trying to protect those that they care about. It gives the movie real stakes, and I appreciated that. Now, where does this rank compared to the previous movies? Honestly, I think this is my favorite of the modern trilogy. Evil Dead 2013 was fantastic. Evil Dead Rise brought a fresh setting and some memorable moments. But Evil Dead Burn somehow feels like the perfect combination of both. It keeps the brutality of 2013, the energy of Rise, and then adds its own identity on top. For me, it's the strongest modern Evil Dead film. Now, let's talk about my one and only criticism. This is the third modern Evil Dead movie, and I think it's finally time for the franchise to push the mythos a bit further. I know the story has never been the main attraction for these movies, I completely understand that. But after three films, I'd like to learn a little bit more about the entity, the origin of those entities, how everything connects. Maybe explore why these events keep happening, just something to make the overall universe feel more connected. Right now, the movies almost feel like standalone anthology stories. They are excellent anthology stories at that, but I think there is room for something bigger. That being said, this criticism barely affected my overall enjoyment because at the end of the day, Evil Dead Burn delivers exactly what it promises. It's terrifying, it's relentless, it's visually stunning, it's incredibly well directed, and it's one of those rare horror movies that genuinely feel like it was made to be experienced with an audience. So, I'm giving Evil Dead Burn a 9 out of 10, one of my favorite horror movies of the year, and easily one of the best theater experiences I've had in a long time. If you are a horror fan, don't wait for streaming, watch this one in theaters, and if you have already seen it, let me know your favorite moment in the comments below. I'd love to hear what you thought. Okay, guys, bye bye.